Hello, welcome back to Country Wife Mommy Life, and today I'm ready to share the birth story of baby number 9. Yay! And I will just spill it right now. Baby number 9 ended up being a girl. We were absolutely shocked and oh so thrilled, and she is just loved by everybody. Aren't ya? Aren't ya? Yes. She is currently 4.5 months old and is just a bundle of joy. She doesn't like to sleep well right now, especially for naps. She does sleep well at night, but not much for naps. But she's a bundle of joy and we love her very, very much. So I found out, I mentioned this in a previous video, but I found out I was pregnant last May, so May of 2024. And had a fairly normal pregnancy. I was a little bit more nauseated than normal. I don't usually get sick during my pregnancies, but I had quite a few food aversions, and I just kind of felt bleh sometimes. So that went away probably around the 3-month mark, and had an uneventful pregnancy. Up until the beginning of January, I believe. My original due date was February 7th, based on my dates. And when I went in for my 6-week ultrasound, I always do an early ultrasound just to verify that it's not twins again, because I want to know early this time. And anyway, I went in for my 6-week ultrasound scan, and she was measuring a little bigger than she should have at that point. So instead of the due date being February 7th, they did back that up to January 25th, I think it was the 25th, 27th, somewhere around there. And so that was fine. So at the beginning of January, she actually dropped. So for those who are not familiar with that term, that's when the baby typically drops down from the uterus down more into the pelvic area, and is kind of an indication that the baby is ready to come. For a first-time mom, that baby can drop up to a month before the baby comes. For consecutive births, sometimes the baby doesn't drop until right before labor starts, or as labor is beginning, and you can be into labor before the baby actually drops and engages completely. But that was not our case. She decided to drop early. So that set my brain into, oh my goodness, this baby's going to come early. I have never had a baby drop so early. My babies typically drop in the last week or two before they come, up to maybe a couple days before they've come. So that's what has been on my radar with all of my pregnancies, and that was just a very big clue that she was going to come early. That did not end up being the case. She did come on my original due date, which was February 7th. There was a lot that was going on, and again, I'll link the previous video. My husband was recovering from gallbladder surgery, and they did a small hernia repair as well. And he, oh my goodness, are we gonna get fussy now? Don't get fussy. Don't get fussy. We're telling your story. We're telling your story. He had a little bit more of a difficult time recovering from that hernia repair. So I was very nervous to have her come so early, because I didn't know how that was all going to work out. My husband's grandfather passed away, and my husband was supposed to do that funeral. So they delayed the funeral as long as they possibly could, which was very, very nice of them. And she came February 7th, and the night before, I had gone to, well, the day before, I had a doctor's appointment. And I think I was about 3 to 4 centimeters dilated, so which is typical for me at that point. I had asked for a membrane sweep because I could just feel that my body was on the very precipice or on the very, very edge of labor. And I thought if she did a membrane sweep, that might just kind of kick me over the edge into a full-blown labor. She was not willing to do that because I have in the past had babies very quickly. It was icy outside. I was by myself and I had a 45-minute drive home. So my doctor was not willing to do that membrane sweep. And she set it up for me to come into the hospital the next morning to do a membrane sweep, possibly an induction, that type of thing. I am not on board with inductions for me personally. That is not a good choice for me. I won't do them for myself. So I was very, very disheartened going home from that appointment. I remember crying on the way home. I called my husband. I said, she won't do the membrane sweep. I don't know what to do. So very, very, you could tell I was ready to go into labor. It was just I was very, very tearful. So on the way home, I remember I prayed about it. I cried about it. I let it all out and just let it go. So I was supposed to be at the hospital, I think 6:30 the next morning, 6 in the morning, something like that. Oh my goodness, we're just gonna go everywhere. And when I got home that afternoon, I looked up an exercise video, and I thought there is no harm in me doing calisthenics, whatever I need to do to try to get this baby to come and put myself into labor so that I don't have to go to the hospital and fight all that. So that's what I did. I did one round of a labor-inducing video and was very tired afterwards. And then a few hours later, I did it again. And I thought, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, we'll deal with it. Went to bed that night, and so that was a Thursday night. I woke up around 2 in the morning, and I was awakened by a contraction, which is nothing new for me. I typically have prodromal labor, but it doesn't usually wake me up at night. So this one woke me up, and so I got up to use the restroom, moved around a little bit, and went back to bed. And then I had another contraction. I don't know how far apart they were at the time. I did not start timing them. And then I had a third one. So I'm laying there, and my husband was awake because I disturbed him when I got up to use the restroom. And so I mentioned to him, hey, this is the third contraction that I have had. And he said, okay, well, get up, move around, and let's see if they keep coming. So I went back down to the restroom, came back upstairs, and laid back down, had 2 more. And he said, okay, let's just go, because we never know how fast these babies are going to come. So we let my son know that, my oldest son, know that we were leaving. So we drove up to the hospital, and my contractions never got closer than 5 minutes apart. In fact, this labor was kind of interesting because I didn't go into the hospital already in full-blown labor, it kept stopping. So when people would leave the room, the contractions would pick up. When nurses and stuff would come into the room, the contractions would slow down. So the doctor on call very nicely just gave me a really, really good membrane sweep. I said, let's start there. He was very accommodating. He was just one of the best doctors I honestly have ever had. He listened to me. I said, this is what I want, this is what I don't want. And he said, okay, well, let's just start with a membrane sweep and we'll go from there. So he did a really good membrane sweep. And my contractions changed at that point, and they never did get closer than 5 minutes apart. I could feel her descending, and I did feel my water pop. Like, I don't typically feel that, but I felt the water just pop. It exploded. There was meconium in the water, and So at that point, I knew that there was a possibility that they might take her from me after she was born, just to make sure that she didn't aspirate any of that or swallow any of that meconium. But she arrived at 12:47 on February 7th. She weighed 8 pounds and 3 ounces, and she was 21.5 inches long. That's a big girl. Oh, my fussy big girl. So, yes, so she came out. She did just fine. My husband was actually able to hold her first. So the doctor caught her and then passed her immediately to my husband. So my husband was the first one to actually hold her, and he was able to do skin to skin right away. And we had actually planned to have that done because I thought that would be really, really special. Yeah. So she was born, and she didn't aspirate. She didn't inhale any of that meconium. So she was able to stay with us the entire time. And we had a really good recovery, and she nursed right away. And it was she's just been a wonderful addition to our home. She was just the complete shock of our lives when she came out. I remember asking my husband and the doctor, is she really a girl? Are we sure she's really a girl? Because it's just so foreign to me after having so many boys. So we're just so thankful and so blessed for to have this little girl. I don't know where she's going to fit into our home, but we will figure that out. But you are so loved. Yes, you are. And that is the story of baby number 9 and our first girl. Yes. Well, thank you for sticking around, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing as we continue life with 8 boys and a daughter. And we will see you in the next video. Bye.